Welcome to part two. Welcome to 3 Keys to Detach from the Alcoholic. Hi, I'm author Grace Rolson, the author of several books, including my first award-winning book, So You Love an Alcoholic. This is 3 Keys to Detach from the Alcoholic to Save Your Sanity and Your Life, part 2 video. So if you didn't hear part 1, you may need to take some time, get your journal, listen to part 1, because these are the actual keys. I'm going to go through them as number 1 and 2 and 3, plus some bonus keys. So here's a full disclaimer. This isn't advice. If you need a therapist, a DV counselor for domestic violence issues, please get those support systems in place for you to even be able to practice detachment. So this might just help you with ideas. This isn't like scientifically proven methods to detach from someone. This is how I did it, and I'm sharing with you my own survivor wisdom. So take what's helpful and leave the rest. If you're willing and ready to learn, I am here to teach and mentor. You can come to my website, learn about my survivor story. So key number 1, what is key number 1? It's to emotionally uninvest or stop investing. If we care too much, we may have emotionally invested too much. Emotional energy that is a blend of fear, anger, pain, love, hate, and sadness might lock us in place. Overinvesting is a powerful lock. It can be an obstacle to our personal healing and growth. For our healing, it is essential to disconnect from draining activities in order to reconnect to things that restore us. If our entire day's worth of energy is spent on trying to save, fix, heal, and rescue the alcoholic, may be no time for self-care and no energy for our healing work. If we are invested in insisting and attaining specific outcomes, we might be tightly holding on to something that's actually harmful. If we are insisting that an irresponsible alcoholic become responsible for saving a relationship when he can't even help himself, we might be lacking common sense. This is just one way unhealthy attachments form. We might be giving and thus get attached to having the results we want. As hard as this is, we have to stop emotionally investing. We have to stop giving to another and start giving to ourselves. We must face the fact that sometimes what we want isn't good for us, and sometimes who we want isn't right for us. First and foremost, our priority needs to shift to self-preservation. Self-preservation is a must, especially if children are involved. If we find that we're more concerned and care more about the alcoholic getting sober than he is about finding or accepting help, we need to take notice. We need to know we're the only ones working hard to hold the relationship together. We need to acknowledge this imbalance. If we're losing ourselves in the relationship, we need to acknowledge this as self-detrimental too. Soul loss is a serious thing. If the future with the alcoholic is looking bleak and dismal, perhaps we should invest in our future elsewhere to have a better future. When we divest from the alcoholic relationship, we free up energy to invest in other things, namely our healing and health. Self-care is not selfish, it's a necessity. Check in with yourself. Do you need to work on your health, finances, friendships, Al-Anon recovery, or Coda recovery? When we decide to pull back our energy and emotions from a bottomless pit and a void in another that we cannot fill, we free up energy to take care of things which will benefit us. The bottom line for me was that I couldn't get a healthy relationship from an unhealthy man no matter how much I wanted it. It didn't matter what I did, nor how long I tried. It didn't matter how much I emotionally invested. I held on to false hope and a fairy tale style romantic type dreams to the point where they almost destroyed me. Learn the 25 powerful lessons and insights from all my efforts in my first book, So You Love an Alcoholic: Lessons for a Codependent, available at Amazon. Key number 2. See the alcoholic as separate from you. I used to say my alcoholic like I owned him. I felt like he was my man, quote unquote, which had me holding on way too tight. We need to release any type of mental ownership we have on the alcoholic because they aren't totally ours. We don't own another human being, and we don't need to see so we need to see the alcoholic as a separate person. We aren't them, and they aren't us. They're unique and different, and so are we. They have a path in life to follow with lessons and consequences they need to learn. They have to realize on their own their problems or who they're becoming. We codependents have different lessons to learn. You can read my second book for women who love an alcoholic, available on Amazon. The second book is called I Love an Alcoholic but Hated the Drinking: 11 Essential Strategies to Survive Codependency and Live in Recovery with Self-Love. When we see the alcoholic as separate and not quote unquote ours, this allows our minds to let go of its unhealthy claim or hold on a person. We aren't their mothers and can't be. They're grown adults with problems. We aren't their teacher, trainer, sponsor, life coach, or law enforcement either. We're not their nurse. If we are in a romantic relationship with an alcoholic, we have a relationship role. We aren't a detox center. They are required to come to the relationship willing and healthy enough to participate. We can't take on 10 different roles for another person, such as a crisis caseworker or mental detox nursing staff. That would be going beyond our job description. We are only one person, and going beyond our role overextends us. It also creates bitterness to brew because it's unfair to us. An alcoholic not being responsible for himself, his health, his finances, his career, his family, plus puts us in an unbalanced relationship. Balance is a key to a happy, healthy life. If we become unbalanced, we lose our sanity and much more. We might even lose our health. We must be restored to sanity by seeing ourselves as separate from the alcoholic. The alcoholic is a separate person with a problem that often needs professional support. If our love and compassion could heal him and save him, it would have. They are on a journey and need to learn their lessons. We can't learn their lessons for them. We must learn our own and shift our focus to ourselves and our neglected areas of life. We might not have healthy eating habits, an exercise routine, or friendships that are mutually beneficial and satisfying. Alcoholism can be isolating and life destroying, not just to the alcoholic, but also the entire family. Do take a moment to self reflect and think of what lesson you are currently learning. Number 3, be in a healthy relationship with yourself. See yourself as separate and worth saving. Do you know your worth? Do you see your value as a person? Someone who's loving, caring, committed, compassionate, empathetic, organized, who can do wonders for those in need. Those we help that are quote unquote in need can't be lazy, apathetic, full grown adults with rights, including the right to fail. The alcoholic has the right to fail. Failure can be our greatest teacher. For some of us, the only way we learn is the hard way. In most cases, our help is best served in populations that need us temporarily. For those who can't care for themselves, such as the elderly, children, and animals. Those three things: elderly, children, animals. There might be a few more in there, maybe the environment and some nature. We are typically caregivers who often get burnt out on one alcoholic codependent relationship and unable to contribute our gifts to society because of that. Can you relate? Do you feel like you have so much love to give? It's a beautiful thing to be be a generous, caring giver. However, we must make sure we are giving in the right and healthy way. To those, it can benefit, not harm. Enabling is harmful, but helping is helpful. We must learn this difference and make mindful distinctions. Honor your value. Know your worth. You are unique. You have gifts. You are walking a different path in life. You are a separate person who has different needs, wants, desires, goals, and purposes. We can't make a man our mission. We can't make a person a project. Different things interest us and matter to us. We are not the same as the alcoholic, even if there's commonalities or common interests. Being different is okay. See yourself as a separate person of worth and value, having much to offer those in need. When we know our worth, we will take time to restore ourselves. Have you taken any time for yourself? When we are not doing self-care, we are in the dysfunction. It is often said that we can't help those closest to us, but we can still help the world around us. We have drives and impulses to serve that we must honor. See yourself on a separate path in life. We do not have to limp along in life clinging to someone who won't get help and whom we can't help. We can't drag someone to a happy, healthy life. We can't give someone our recovery program. In many cases, helping enables them not to get help, real help, professional help, help for themselves. We must see ourselves as separate from the alcoholic with a separate path to follow. Constantly helping the alcoholic often distracts us from helping ourselves. If we haven't focused on ourselves in years, we have to stop, pause, and see ourselves for a change. We must recognize what's happening to us. If we are losing ourselves in a relationship with an alcoholic, we can learn from every mistake. I have some bonus tips. Bonus tip number 1 is replace what you are attached to. Fill the voids. We must take responsibility for our lives. It's our job to fill the void with healthy, satisfying endeavors. After we decide to detach, we will need some support to maintain that commitment. Then we must attach to something good, positive, and healthy. We must invest our time into things that make us healthy and keep us free. Many recovery programs suggest adopting a higher power so we're able to attach to something untouched by alcoholism and bigger than codependency. To fill the voids, we could engage in anything that's healthy, safe, and sustains us mind, body, and spirit. Could be a yoga practice, a spiritual discipline or path, a health program, or a recovery program like Al-Anon, ACA, ACOA, or CODA. Al-Anon is a 12-step support program for people whose lives have been affected by someone else's drinking. It's free. There's meetings online, by phone, and Zoom, in person, all around the world. It's worldwide. When we detach from the numerous needs of an alcoholic, there will be voids that we have to consciously and mindfully fill. So we must make healthy choices. We have to find something for our Sunday nights that's wholesome, fulfilling, and rewarding. Some women use Al Anon meetings and attach themselves to a personal recovery program as a way to save themselves. Find your healthy outlet and healing program. Make healing yourself your main mission for a while. When we make healthy choices, our lives become healthier. We can go from merely surviving to thriving with a recovery program and sustainable solutions. We don't have to go into a free fall after we let go. Instead, we can tie a rope onto a floating ship like a recovery program and learn to swim. We can anchor into something healthy. Learn all you can from recovery programs that deal specifically with this alcoholic codependent dilemma. Wisdom is powerful, and hearing stories of survival can give you hope. Whether it's a program that targets codependency, deals with alcoholism, or addresses narcissistic abuse or dysfunctional family systems like ACOA, which is adult children of alcoholics or dysfunctional families, look for local resources. Many domestic violence agencies run peer to peer support groups as well. Alcoholics are often abusers. If you are suffering not just from witnessing an alcoholic abuse himself with a liquid drug, but also from intimate partner abuse, I encourage you to seek safe help. You can visit www.domesticshelters.org and do a search. Bonus tip: purge your pain. We may need to find a holy witness to purge our pain, shame, and fears. We may need to tell someone our personal truth. The truth can set us free. On the other side of the quote unquote purge, we can feel freer. This can help us deal with any anger we have with ourselves for staying in a self harming situation. This can help us be honest with ourselves. Safe sharing with an understanding, caring, compassionate person can cut our psychological burden in half. That's what sponsors do in the Al Anon, CODA, ACOA programs. If we walk away from the relationship limping, we will need time to heal. If we walk away from the relationship with a backpack of responsibility, unfairness, and injustice, we will need to feel some of the feelings to heal. Venting toxic emotions can get the poison out of us. Having someone there to witness our personal revolution can be affirming and healing. Purging in a safe, confidential way can be a powerful tool, just like detachment. We can detach with anger, we can detach with love. But if detachment is necessary for survival, either form of detachment can be beneficial. Don't continually judge yourself harshly for your choices in love or choice of partner from the past. Caring, loving people are good people. Everyone makes mistakes. Our job is to learn from our mistakes and not repeat them. Repeating mistakes can lead to self-contempt. We want to respect and honor ourselves to avoid self-harm. As the yoga master Swami Kripalu said, the highest form of spiritual practice is self-observation without judgment. You might want to consider adopting a spiritual practice that can help you sustain your recovery or help you through your healing. A loving higher power concept may be just what you need if you have mistakenly made the alcoholic your higher power for years. Bonus tip: practice soul retrieval and soul distancing. A toxic relationship can chip away at our soul. To save ourselves and our soul, we may need to not only practice self-preservation and set boundaries with others, we may need to do some soul retrieval and retrieving and soul distancing. To fully let go, to fully separate, I had to cut all energetic, invisible cords and ties to the alcoholic. This took many healing modalities to help me detangle from the toxic web of loving someone that hurt me to the core. There are many modalities that help with soul healing, such as yoga and Reiki. Start journaling and asking your soul what it will take for you to heal at the core level. Bonus tip: rebuild your self-esteem. We tend to lose self-esteem and self-respect the longer we stay in a disrespectful relationship. So it will require many esteemable acts to reclaim our most fundamental power, our self-esteem. Rebuilding self-esteem can range from cleaning the house or car to going to the gym or starting a healthy diet. Getting ourselves into individual therapy and going to an Al-Anon meeting regularly can affirm that we matter. We matter to ourselves, even if we don't matter to the alcoholic. Self-care is essential, and so is self-respect. Find any self-respecting, healthy activity to do this week and do it for yourself. Practice prioritizing you, not the alcoholic. Find purpose in your pain. Enjoy the benefits. When we have detached, we don't fall for any guilt trips from the alcoholic that can take away our healthy living or happiness. Often, as we pull back our attention and start getting healthier, they become jealous, irritated, and annoyed because they aren't the center of attention anymore. We must hold our ground and understand the emotional backlash and tantrums that grown alcoholics often have, which is a form of manipulation they use when losing control over their caretakers. Being emotionally free is a beautiful gift we can give ourselves. The abuser also needs to go after their own gifts of freedom from substances and mature past childlike or adolescent behavior. Holding us emotionally hostage isn't going to lead them to sobriety. Fighting and arguing with us doesn't get them the help they need. They need to focus on getting help just as we must. If the alcoholic becomes pathologically jealous, we may be dealing with mental illness and or a personality disorder like narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. If this is the case, we can accept that even if they stop drinking, it won't cure mental illness or reverse a personality disorder. If we have been blaming alcohol for all of the alcoholic's problems and not realizing they are disordered to a different degree, we can acknowledge the limits we have and they have as partners. Is it time to be in a healthy relationship with yourself? Detach one day at a time. There is so much we can do when detached from an alcoholic that we can't do for ourselves attached to him. If we detach successfully, even if it's in small increments, we can enjoy life again. After a break off or a break up, we may have to take life one day at a time. Facing the holidays or life without someone can feel daunting. We can make lists to remember the things we endured and the pain we lived through with the alcoholic. We don't have to cave into nostalgia. We can keep reality on our nightstands or post on the fridge, the TV, or bathroom mirrors. Many of us have had to fight for our freedom and sanity. We've had to work hard to block out the alcoholic's negative comments and start caring for ourselves. Self-care is not selfish. It's absolutely necessary. We don't have to face an entire lifetime. We can just do life one day at a time, as they say in the program. If there's any abuse or what I call boundary backlash, we can get counseling from the local DV, domestic violence agency. Users and abusers don't like it when their supply, quote unquote, sets boundaries, limits, and says no. Further, narcissists don't like to hear the word no. Emotional and verbal abuse is still abuse. We may not recognize the abuse we have lived with for years as abuse. With support, like a caring, confidential therapist or a recovery program like Al Anon, and an understanding sponsor, we can start admitting things that used to make us feel shame. We can transition through the stages of grief to overcome our losses to the alcoholic relationship. If we are dealing with an angry alcoholic, we may need therapy or counseling to work through our fear and DV, domestic violence support, to get a safe plan established. It's wise to seek therapy and address our fears. Seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. We can give ourselves self-compassion for all the struggles we have been through. Most of all, we don't have to abandon ourselves. We can learn to self-partner and step into what I call the self-love solution. I'm Grace Rolson, mother, survivor, thriver, certified life coach, and author of many self-help books for women and mothers available on Amazon. I loved an alcoholic for 15 years and tried everything to get him sober and save our relationship. I spent 20 plus years in Al Anon and studied AA myself, hoping to save the alcoholic. When loving him didn't fix or save him, I had to fight to save myself and my sanity. I practiced program principles, gave myself a new life of peace and freedom and serenity. With self-love, I enjoyed being single and raising a child safely outside of an alcoholic home. What might be your next steps? You might have to pick up the book So You Love an Alcoholic. We still have work to do after detaching from an alcoholic. There's often an aftershock, tons of grief to process, self-discipline to master, obsessions to overcome, common sense to be restored, and more. We must stay on the path towards thriving as we survive the fallout and get closure from a toxic relationship. The alcoholic can't give us closure. Only we can do that. We can make it and emerge smarter and stronger than before. We can believe in ourselves, even if no one else does. Here are 3 things you can do for yourself as you practice detachment. Remember, knowledge is power, so learn all the lessons you can. Step 1, pick up So You Love an Alcoholic, Lessons for a Codependent on Amazon. It's in print, Kindle, or Audible. Step 2, you can get my Self-Love Solution video program, or pick up book number 2, I Loved an Alcoholic but Hated the Drinking, or number 3, Loving an Alcoholic Without Losing Yourself, Using the Self-Love Solution to Break Free. Just a quick disclaimer, these are helpful tips based solely on my thoughts and opinions. I'm not a therapist or a professional crisis caseworker or DV counselor. This is my survivor wisdom. So if any of these tips resonate with you, please run it by your therapist, your DV counselor, or your lawyer. If there's children involved, you might want to stay for a few minutes to see my next set of slides or listen to the next books and guides that I have available. We do not have to spend our entire lifetime suffering unloved, unfulfilled lives without self-respect or self-love. We can have shifts in our thinking, beliefs, and mindsets to contribute to making better choices or discovering our choices. Most importantly, there can be lessons learned. Then, with solid recovery and any of those programs with support, healing can happen with courage through connection, knowledge, and wisdom. Our happiness is on the other side of that soul work. Remember, self-work or soul work is some of the most important work we will ever do. We can learn, heal, and grow through this whole relationship and healing from this relationship. You can subscribe to my Substack, authorgracerolson.substack.com. It's a free newsletter that has a podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, so you can share this with someone else. The first part, this was part 2, and so this would be a paid program. You're welcome to share part 1. And if you have children with the alcoholic, if you discover that he's a covert narcissist or suffers from a personality disorder like ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, with NPD, with if you find that those disorders resonate with the situation that you're in, you may be facing a challenge in family court. So I have 5 books for mothers who are facing family court battles or trying to protect children, to raise them safely outside of an alcoholic codependent home. My first book is Co-Parenting with a Narcissist: 7 Self Rules to Stay Sane. My second book is How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win: Super Smart Strategies for Success. My third is Co-Parenting with a Sociopath: Survival Insanity Guide. My fourth is How to Survive a Custody Battle When the Family Courts Force You to Co-Parent. Because what we don't realize is that parents have rights. And my fifth is Tame the Narcissist: 10 Keys for Better Co-Parenting to Create Peace and Protection Using Strategy and Skillful Means. So I fought on the front line of family court for 12 years to keep our child out of the alcoholic's vehicle, and the family courts did not have a child abuse and neglect prevention program. They didn't put child safety first. Unfortunately, they focused on parents' rights, and whoever had the best, most expensive lawyer seemed to win in family court. So not all of us can get supervised visits, or supervised visits forever. And not all of us can get supervised transfers monitored if you have to have the child go back and forth between households. May not be able to get that installed for the entire lifetime of a child. So just be mindful of this. If this resonates with you, you may have to do some planning, some strategy sessions. I am a strategist and a coach for moms in custody battles. I'll be starting a nonprofit soon for those who are disadvantaged, don't have the money to take advantage of resources like support groups, coaching, strategy sessions, or legal consultations. So a legal consultation, if you could get a free one, something confidential. Sometimes the local DV agency has a lawyer that they contract with that can do free consultations for family law cases or potential family law cases. So thank you for listening. Have hope. Remember, you can learn, heal, and outgrow the narcissist. Make sure you make healing your priority, and you can go from stressed out to strategic. In all of my books, I explain how the key is holding on to your sanity and becoming stronger and smarter than before. So learn some strategies, gain some skills, and thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.